Hello and welcome to my latest weekly video news from Madison's. Well, I normally sit here with my blue notes and know what I'm going to talk about, but today I thought let's just have a chat about what is going on in the global markets. Obviously, I spoke to you last week about the turmoil that was happening, the fact that I thought that the positive impact on the UK housing market would be that mortgage rates will probably come down a bit because inflation probably will tip up a bit with those tariffs. So mortgage rates likely to come back a bit, and that will be a good stimulus. What I hadn't seen at that point was the good old consumer sentiment starting to come into play. So I thought I'd just have a bit of a chat about that, really. For me, buying a home or a property is about so much more than an investment decision. There are lots of asset classes that you invest into which are all about returns, be that either because you're trying to generate income or capital growth. But for me, property, as much as we love to think that it's the gift that keeps on giving because prices just continue to rise, it isn't always about that. In fact, it's very, very small amount that. It's about having a baby and needing a bigger home. It's about wanting to climb up the housing ladder, wanting to get onto the housing ladder, about sadly divorcing or there being a death or a debt to repay or relocating to a different part of the country or wanting off-road parking or a bigger garden or to live in a different part of the town or the world. So there are so many factors that come into play with buying a property, and the average time to now stay in your property is 11 years. So that's a good long period of time to settle, enjoy that. I see some who've been there for a lot longer than that, but that is generally the average. So often what happens when we get these strange global headwinds, and I'm going to be honest, I was hoping we were through into steadier waters for a bit. We had the huge run up to the stamp duty and we were breathing a sigh of relief, and then Trump introduces those tariffs and the global supply chains get all disrupted and the markets go into free fall. So I was hoping we were going to have some steady times ahead, but we don't. So I'm now dealing with more dialogue and chatter from buyers. And I was wondering how long it would be before I would hear a buyer say, well, because of the uncertain global conditions, we're not sure that now is the time to be investing. Wasn't long, actually. It was last Tuesday afternoon. A renegotiation on price didn't go well for that buyer, was declined. They're now not buying that house. So yeah, it doesn't take long for those consumer sentiments to pop into the dialogue and for buyers to try and leverage it to their best reward, I suppose. If you've got a seller who is already on the property market, they recognise it will be relative. They might slightly sell for less, but they'll hopefully buy for slightly less as well. So it's a relative position if you're already on the market. But first-time buyers or buyers sitting in cash get very, very nervous. They want to try and time the market. And the reality is that is just such a dangerous strategy. They just won't purchase. What they are looking for in those times, because mortgage rates are so cheap at the moment, they are still cheap despite what you might think. My first mortgage was at 17%. Most sellers are not forced sellers. So most sellers are thinking of moving for a variety of reasons. And the only one that really keeps the wolves at the door would be debt. So you've got a debt to repay and you've got to get rid of it, so you need to sell your property. That's generally the only type of forced seller. Everybody else is doing it because they want to. There might be a need, but equally they could put that need on the back burner. Nothing is really pressing them. So all that happens when you get really low offers is they just get refused. You don't move on with your move, and sellers just refuse to accept and stay put. The best way to work in this market, which is certainly a little bit tricky at the moment, because we have more supply of stock than we've got buyers, is to be realistic as a seller with what you want to achieve. Don't be greedy. And as a buyer, to be realistic with the price that you're going to pay, recognizing that you're probably going to be there for the long term. In 10, 11 years when you come to move, whether you paid an extra 20,000 for it will be utterly irrelevant. You'll have had many, many years of happy life in that home, moving on then to your next move, and you'll almost forget what you paid for it. That happens at almost every valuation I go to. Oh, we paid around 9 something. I go 925. Oh, was it 925? Yes, it was 925. So you just forget what you paid for it. It becomes irrelevant because you move on, you enjoy your home, And ultimately, over the long term, like pretty much every asset class, you will get a good return on your investment, as well as providing for so many emotional factors. So, my message to you at the moment, if you want to move, press on. If you're a seller, be realistic with what you're going to achieve. This is no time to be greedy, but you should still get a fair price, a very fair price. If you're a buyer, stop mucking around with ridiculously low negotiations. You're just going to hack off the seller, hack off me, because it creates a load of work and I have to have an uncomfortable conversation with my client, which is never nice. So sometimes I refuse to put offers forward if I just think that's going to go nowhere. Of course, I still have a chat with my seller about it, but I let my seller very much know I've not supported this offer at all. So buyers, be realistic. You will get a bit of a good deal in this market. You'll move forward, you'll press on, you'll meet that need that you need to get to being on the housing ladder. And in due course, all this will calm and you will settle and enjoy your home. So that's all I want to talk to you about today, really. I should bring you more sort of economic updates as events unfold. It's a little bit too volatile to call at the moment in terms of what's going on. The market changes daily, but bigger economic updates will follow on my thoughts. But for now, that's just a bit of a chat about what to do to get the best result in this market. Have a great week. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.